Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're going to be doing a Heratic deck profile. So this deck just got some really insane support in the form of Heratic Sky Dragon and Heratic Seal of Creation, which are both fantastic cards for this deck, and I am super excited to bring this one to you guys because I love playing Heratics. It is one of my favorite decks to be able to play with, and it is just a super amazing deck. It was actually one of the first 10 decks that I made when I made the channel, which is a really awesome thing. I've been profiling that deck since like 2014, and it's a really fun deck. So without further ado, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can come part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name scratched from every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron, along with test stands. Without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Hieratic Dragon of Txne. So Txne is kind of like Cyber Dragon. You can special summon this card to your side of the field for free if you don't control a monster, and also all of your Heratic monsters share this effect. That if this card is tributed, you can special summon a normal monster from one normal dragon monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, but make its attack 0/0, which is a pretty awesome effect just to be able to get you a lot of different monsters out on your side of the field for free, and basically they replace themselves with the greatest of ease. We then play 3 copies of Hieratic Dragon of Su. Hieratic Dragon of Su can special summon itself to your side of the field by tributing another Heratic monster on your side of the field, and also you can tribute a monster in your hand that's a Heratic monster to be able to target a spell or trap on your opponent's side of the field and destroy it. And if this card is tributed, you could special summon a Heratic, or you could special summon a normal dragon monster from your deck but make its attack and defense 0/0. We then play double Hieratic Dragon of Nebthet. Nebthet is really good because you can summon this card to your side of the field. It basically does the exact same thing as Su, but it pops monsters, which is a pretty good effect, but it is a level 5, so it kind of does take away from the deck a little bit. I wish it was level 6, but I understand why, because it's the counterpart to Hieratic Dragon of Eset, which you play as a 3 of, which is probably the best normal summon in the entire deck, which Hieratic Dragon of Eset has a really awesome effect and is probably the best card to ever draw in the deck outside of your Txne. And what this card does is when it's normal summoned, you normal summon this card without tributing, but its attack becomes 1,000. It also has the ability that once per turn, you can target one face-up dragon normal monster on the field, and the level of all face-up Heratic monsters you currently control become the level of that normal monster. So for example, if I have a copy of Nebthet and Eset on the field, but I also have a Blue Eyes White Dragon, I can target the Blue Eyes White Dragon with my Eset and make all of my Heratics, including Nebthet and Eset, become level 8 to be able to overlay into something like a copy of Heratic Sky Dragon of Heliopolis, which is a great play for this deck. We then play a single copy of Heratic, or not the Heratic, it might as well be a Heratic, but Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. This is a hard once per turn now, but it has the ability that you can remove from play a dragon monster, do a special on this card to your field, and then once per turn, per Red Eyes Darkness Metal name, you can special summon one dragon monster except another copy of itself from your hand or graveyard, which is a really powerful effect just to get you an additional monster on your side of the field. Then for the normal monsters, we're playing a single copy of the Heratic Seal of the Sun Dragon Overlord as our level 8 monster, which is a really good card in this deck just to give you that additional play to be able to go into your copy of Sky Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis. A single copy of Labradorite Dragon, because Labradorite Dragon helps you get into your copy of Ultimate Tzolk'in. A single copy of Wattail Dragon, because you can sometimes summon the Wattail and the Labradorite to your side of the field and be able to go for Tzolk'in that way. And also both of these are kind of here because I don't like playing one level 6, because if it gets banished, I'm kind of in a bad position. If I do banish level 6, if the level 8 gets banished, I'm kind of like, okay, I'll be fine. But if one of these gets banished, if I only play one Labradorite and the one Labradorite gets banished and I'm stuck with just the sphere, you're in a really bad spot. We then play 3 copies of Saphira, Queen of Dragons. Saphira, Queen of Dragons is my own personal card in this deck. I love to play Saphira Heratics. It's a really good build, and what this card does is you can ritual summon this card with Hyam of Light, and then during the end phase, if this card was ritual summoned this turn, or if a light monster was sent to the graveyard, or sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard this turn, you can activate one of the following effects. Either draw 2 and discard 1, discard a random card from your opponent's hand, or add a light monster from your graveyard to your hand, which is a very powerful effect just to get you any of those particular effects that you need on your side of the field. And it's a level 6 dragon monster with 2,500 attack, so it is a pretty good card in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Psyframe Gear Gamma. Gear Gamma is really good too because a lot of your Heratics go off when you have no monster on the field. So for example, I might activate my copy of pre-preparation of rites, or I might activate my copy of the ritual spell to be able to go off into my copy of a Heratic monster to get me an instant copy of, say, my Tzolk'in because I'm trying to summon out Severa. Well, my copy of Ciphering Gear Gamma is going to be able to block a hand trap against my opponent and give me a level 6 synchro on my side, or level 8 synchro on my side of the field, because you play the level 6 driver and the 3 gammas to be able to synchro summon into another monster. So doing this on your turn is really good because it can protect your ritual spell and it can protect your Heratic that goes to the graveyard if you tribute it by an effect, then you don't control a monster, which is really, really good. I love playing this in this deck. I love playing Gamma and Driver in this deck. It is so good. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Monster Reborn. The Monster Reborn is really helpful in this deck because the Monster Reborn just revives the exact monster that you need at any given time. I play 2 copies of the Claw of Hermos. The Claw of Hermos is really good because it lets you send a monster from your hand or your side of the field to the graveyard, special summon a Claw of Hermos fusion monster from your extra deck, which I always summon the Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword, because Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword is ridiculously good in this deck because the more dragons you have in the graveyard, the bigger the monster it's equipped to gets, and that can get pretty big. We then play 3 copies of the Heratic Seal of Convocation, which is the search card of the deck. You get to add any Heratic monster you need from your deck to your hand, which is a very powerful effect. This card was even, I think, semi-limited or even limited at one point when it first came out because the deck was really, really good. We then play 3 of the new Heratic Seal of Creation. Heratic Seal of Creation I really like in this deck and think that it is ridiculously good and exactly what this deck needed because it lets you target a Heratic XZ monster you control and then special summon one from your extra deck, one Heratic XZ monster with a different original name by using that monster as a material, and then also you transfer all the materials to that monster. So basically, if I have a rank 6 like Heratic Dragon of Atem on my side of the field and I use its effect and then I have Creation, I can use Creation to then upgrade it into a copy of Sky Dragon, or upgrade Sky Dragon into a Heratic Sun Dragon, or upgrade the Sun Dragon into a copy of Atem. You can interchange all of these in and out between each other with your copy of Creation, which is really, really good. I love that effect to be able to tag them in and out for the different monsters. It also has a really good effect as well that you get to banish the card from your graveyard, then target a Heratic monster in your grave and special summon in defense position, but you can only use 1 Heratic Seal of Creation effect per turn, and you can only use once that turn as well, which is a pretty good effect to be able to just use one or the other, but it's still a really powerful card that you need as a 3 of. We then play 3 of the Ritual Spell for Severa. Basically, this card is just here to Ritual Summon Severa. It also has the ability for Ritual monster you control would be destroyed by battle or by card effect. You can banish the card from your graveyard instead, which is a really good effect just to be able to protect Severa. And then we play 3 copies of Pre-Prep of Rites. Pre-Prep of Rites lets you add the Severa and its Ritual Spell from your deck to your hand really quickly, and basically this plus any other Heratic monster equals to Tzolk'in really quickly, which is really awesome for this deck. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps, which we actually play 3 traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing, since we're playing Tzolk'in, I needed a trap that I could set and it would still go off. And so I play 3 Judgment in here. You can play 3 Ice Dragon Prison. You can play 3 Strike. You can play any like 3 traps that you want, but I like playing the 3 Judgments in here because if I summon out a Tzolk'in to my field, I can then set this card on my side of the field and back up the Crystal Wing with an additional negation that says no to everything, which is really, really nice just to give you those additional plays. So I really like the Judgment as a 3 of in this deck. But again, you can play Ice Dragon Prison, you can play, 3 copies of Strike, you can play 3 copies of Impermanence. It's totally up to you what you play, but I like the Judgment because it says no to everything. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing a single copy of the new Heratic Sky Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis, and man, does that look good. What this card does is quick effect. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a card in your graveyard, or that's banished or on your field, then you can quick effect detach a material from this card and negate the activation if you do destroy it. So if your opponent targets any of the cards that's in their hand in the field, graveyard, or banished, if they target any of your cards, you just detach a material, negate it. Really good effects. It's basically the complete counterpart to your Heratic Sun Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis. Heratic Sun Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis is basically the polar opposite, and it does stuff to your opponent that actually targets. And what this card does is you get to once per turn detach a material from this card, and then tribute any number of monsters from your hand or field, and then destroy cards equal to the number of the cards tributed, which is a really awesome effect. We then play 3 copies of Heratic Dragon King of Atum. King of Atum is really easy to summon in this deck because you can once per turn detach a material to special summon 1 dragon monster from your deck, but you make its attack 0/0, and this card can't attack the turn you activate that effect, which is why Creation is so good to let you tag in and out. And wow, that card looks awesome on camera. I just looked up and saw that. That looks fantastic. We then play a single copy of Gaia the Thunder Charger. Gaia is really good in this deck because Gaia can overlay on top of your Hieratic Dragon King of Atum to be able to go in and actually be able to attack. Very old school play. We then play a single copy of the number 38, Hope Harboring Dragon Titanic Galaxy, because it can negate spells, and it's really good as your 1 rank 8. And then for the Link monsters, we're going to be playing 2 copies of the Heratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. This is the only Link monster I play in the deck. It's the only one you really need, to be honest with you guys, because what this card does is it gives you a non-targeting bounce, because once during your opponent's turn, if this card is in the extra monster zone, you get to contribute this card and then be able to target a monster. You tribute a monster from your hand or your field to return 1 face-up monster on the field to your opponent's hand. Then if this card was tributed, you could special summon 1 dragon monster from your hand or deck and make its attack 0/0. But it can be any monster. It can be a red MD if you want it to be, which is really, really insane. Then for the Synchro monsters, we're playing a single copy of Ultimate Tzolk'in because Tzolk'in is ridiculously easy to summon in this deck. Basically, pre-prep plus Saphira plus, pre-prep plus any Heratic equals this, which is really awesome. We then play a single copy of Crystal Wing. Crystal Wing is insanely good because you're going to summon it off of the Tzolk'in really fast. 1 copy of Beals because Beals is ridiculously good as a shield card because it can't be destroyed by battle or by card effects. And whenever you take damage, you're just going to immediately gain attack on that. 1 copy of Void Ogre because it can negate spells or traps, which is really good. Psyframe Lord Omega because you play the Gamma Driver package. And then 1 copy of Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword. This card is a card that you might not be super familiar with, but what this card does is when it's special summoned, you get to equip it to a monster on your side of the field, and the equipped monster gains 1,000 attack. And then for every dragon type monster on the field and in the graveyard, that monster gains an additional 500. So just on summon, it's going to gain 1,500, whatever you equip this to. And then, depending on if you have another dragon that you equipped it to, it's going to go up by 2,000. And then whatever you have in the graveyard, it's going to go up by 500 per on top of that. So this card can easily come out. It's going to come out at a 2,000 boost on whatever monster you equip it to, which is good. And if you equip it onto something like a copy of the Hieratic Sun Dragon Overlord, it's going to go up to 5,000 on summon, which is insanely good. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a really fun deck to play with. I highly recommend that if you guys have not tried Heratic, you definitely should. This deck is hands down one of my favorite decks. I hope to do some live duels of this deck soon, because this live duels will be fun, test hands will be fun. I love this deck, and I am open to suggestions about this deck because this deck is ridiculously fun, and I have played this deck since Galactic Overlord when it first released. Like, I love playing this deck. It is probably one of my favorite dragon monsters or dragon decks in the entire game because it's based in ancient Egypt and it's just so cool. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can comment bar notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.